Imagine a crime so strange that it challenges everything we think we know about violence, predation, and the very nature of culpability. A case so unsettling, it forces investigators, witnesses, and even the public to ask a single, terrifying question. What if the killer was never human? It begins in a remote area, far from cities and the noise of modern life. A small town, a forest, or an isolated stretch of wilderness, places where the rules of society are softer and the laws of nature feel sharper. Here, the first signs of something extraordinary began to emerge. Attacks that defied explanation, tracks that seemed almost otherworldly, and behaviors that no human being could replicate. Victims appeared with injuries that were precise, yet bizarre. Wounds were unlike anything seen before, clean, almost surgical in their execution, but also scattered in ways that suggested a pattern only an inhuman mind could conceive. Forensic experts examined the scenes and could not match the marks to any known weapon, tool, or method. It was as though the perpetrator operated on an entirely different level of physicality. Witnesses described glimpses of something they could not fully comprehend. Shadows moving faster than a person should be able to move, strange sounds in the night, clicks, growls, and footsteps that echoed in impossible ways. Some swore they saw a figure that moved on more than two limbs, leapt with unnatural agility, or disappeared into the darkness as if it were never there. Investigators followed every lead, combed the surrounding areas, and tracked the scenes meticulously. They searched for DNA, fingerprints, and footprints, but found nothing human. What little evidence existed was fragmented: traces of hair, claw-like marks on trees, and patterns in the soil that suggested something intelligent, yet not of this species. It was a forensic puzzle unlike any other, one that strained the limits of both science and imagination. Speculation grew. Could it be a rare, unknown predator? A mutated animal? Something that existed between the natural and the supernatural? Even the most experienced hunters and trackers could not identify the source. Every hypothesis collided with facts that made no sense if the killer were human. The victims themselves told a chilling story. Survivors described a presence that seemed to study them, to anticipate their movements, and to strike with precision that suggested more than instinct. It suggested intelligence. And yet, this intelligence was not human. It did not communicate, negotiate, or hesitate in ways humans do. It simply acted with a focus that was terrifying in its efficiency. As the community grew aware of the pattern, fear spread faster than the facts. Families locked doors, hunters avoided the forest, and entire areas became taboo. Law enforcement, overwhelmed and puzzled, began to document every encounter. But their reports often read like the chronicles of a horror story rather than a traditional criminal investigation. Experts in zoology, forensic science, and even cryptozoology weighed in. Some suggested it might be a large, unknown species that had evaded scientific discovery for decades. Others proposed that it could be a hybrid, an anomaly born from nature itself. The most unsettling idea, whispered among the bravest investigators, was that the killer was not only non-human, but also intelligent, strategic, and aware of human behavior in a way that made it almost impossible to anticipate or contain. The longer the case went unresolved, the more the community and the investigators began to question the very nature of crime. If the killer was not human, then what does justice even mean? How do you protect a society from a threat that cannot be reasoned with, prosecuted, or even fully understood? The rules that guide our understanding of guilt and accountability simply no longer applied. And perhaps the most frightening thought of all, if something exists that can operate beyond human comprehension, beyond the reach of law and morality, what else might be out there, moving silently, observing, and waiting? What predators exist that we have no words for, no laws for, no way to track or control? Cases like this remind us that the world is far stranger than we allow ourselves to imagine. That violence does not always come from a human hand. That intelligence, malice, and intent may exist in forms we cannot even classify. And that sometimes the most terrifying possibility is that we are not the only beings capable of deliberate, strategic harm. In the end, the story leaves us with more questions than answers. We cannot prove what or who committed the crimes. We may never know. And yet, it forces us to confront the uncomfortable reality that not all threats are human, and not all mysteries are meant to be solved. So the next time you hear a noise in the night, or see a shadow move in ways that defy explanation, consider this. What if the killer was never human? What if intelligence, strategy, and predation exist beyond our understanding? And what would that mean for the world we think we know? The question lingers because it cannot be answered. It is not a riddle to be solved, but a warning. reality is broader, stranger, and far more dangerous than we imagine. And some mysteries, once glimpsed, are never forgotten.